Welcome to this week's OK at Work with myself, Sarah Sawyer, and my colleague, Russell Berger, both attorneys at Offit Kurman. And today we are talking about the new Maryland Family and Medical Leave Insurance Program that will be launching over the next couple of years here. And I say over the next couple of years because there's a couple dates that are relevant here. We've got when the program will actually become available to employees and benefits becoming available for everyone, which is January 1st, 2026. And then we've got a bunch of things that happen leading up to that, including employee contributions. So this is going to be a leave program, paid leave through the state, kind of similar to what we've got in other states surrounding us, or near us, I should say, New Jersey, New York, some other places. We've definitely talked about it on OK at Work before, but as we kind of work up to this January 1st, 2026, when benefits become available, the state is preparing the program. So what are some updates that we have for our audience today, Russell?
Yeah, so one of the things that I think we've talked about in the past is that this is going to function somewhat similar to unemployment, where it's really a payroll tax, and some of it's going to come from the employees, some of it's going to come from the employer. It's going to get paid into the state. The state's going to have some sort of administrative program where employees will be able to make claims and get paid out of. The latest update is the state has now arrived at contribution percentages. So the contribution percentage is going to be 0.9% of covered wages, with the employee contributing half of that, 0.45%, and the employer contributing the other half of it, 0.45%. And that, I believe, is up to the Social Security threshold, which presently is in the neighborhood of about 160 grand. It's a little bit higher than that, but that's the right framework. So if you have a high earning employee who's earning over 160 grand, you're looking at like $720 or so, give or take, in terms of what you're going to be making as a contribution as an employer. The employee is going to get taxed that same amount, so their wages are going to be $720 less for the year. And this will come out on a payroll basis, so it won't all hit at one time, and it'll be a steady thing, again, much like unemployment. But it's going to be something that it's going to hit both sides. So remains to be seen how employees will feel about it. Obviously, there's a benefit for employees because they can take the leave and have this insurance kick in when they take a covered leave, up to $1,000 per week. So again, that $160,000 employee is not going to get full reimbursement for being out during family and medical leave, but they will get reimbursed up to that $1,000 per week threshold.
Yeah, and then this is for 15 or more workers is when the employer contribution will come into play, but employees will always be contributing and will have access to the system regardless of whether they're working for a small employer or not. So even if you're a small employer and you yourself are not making contributions, that doesn't mean that you can just ignore it and say, oh, this isn't relevant to me, right? So it's still relevant because employees, and they're still developing guidance around this. So we'll definitely be getting more information between now and January 1st, 2026. But I'm sure if it's anything like what we've seen in other states, there's going to be requirements that you tell employees about their access to these benefits and about the deductions and what those look like. And I'm sure that we'll be seeing guidance around what disclosures you need to make, how you need to communicate this to employees, how you need to make sure they know they have access. I'm sure we'll see some draft sample policies, things like that, that'll be coming up. So not time necessarily to start putting all that into action and start getting too far ahead of yourself and making new policies until we get all of that. But definitely just want to have it on your radar, know that this cost is coming, and start thinking a little bit about how you're going to want to work it into your current system.
Yeah, well, and I think a couple of points. It's not set in stone yet. It's still being, the regulations are still being written. So I think there's still opportunity to push and lobby and work through kind of the legislative and administrative processes to make it a little more tolerable or a little more manageable from a business perspective. But yeah, a couple other points. The law allows for employers to opt out, provided they're opting into something that's at least as beneficial to the employee. So there will come a time in 2024 where employers have to make that election. And then starting in the fall of 2024, employers, as you said, Sarah, with 15 employees or more, and employees will have to start contributing in. So everyone's going to start paying into the program in late 2024, but no one can take leave under the program until January of 2026. So they're going to take some time to build up some cash reserves, presumably, in the program. So while planning for the financial impact in 2024, can start earlier. One of the other things that we'll do, and it'll probably happen in the latter half of 2025, is address existing leave policies so that it works in concert with the benefits paid by this program, as opposed to in addition to the benefits paid by this program. So if you already have kind of employer-sponsored paid leave, you might be able to use this insurance to offset some of that and design your plan around that. But that could be something that will be something that'll have to be done specifically and with the details of the final version of the law in mind.
Yeah, and I think it's important to flag these dates because you don't want confused employees as well. You definitely don't want to assume that they're going to obviously be following this and just understand what's going on. So I think it'll be important as we go into 2024 and get closer to when those contributions are being made, that the employer will have a role to play as far as educating employees on contributions being made and the fact that leave isn't available yet, and just kind of keeping those communications open, because that'll be where I think most employees will be getting their information. They're not scrolling keeping track of the website like you and I are, Russell, and trying to keeping an eye on all these press releases. I'm sure they'll be surprised by some of this.
Yeah. I think that's really true for employers too. It's just keep an eye on it. Like, it's evolving and it's changing, and you're going to have to plan for it. And again, nothing's imminent, but it's just something to keep an eye on and watch as it evolves.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Russell. We'll see you next time.